Guys, it's Sue, your not so crafty crafter, also from Dolly Boo Designs. I am focusing in here with my camera on my stamp storage unit. I wanted to show you this because in a previous video I just loaded for card making for beginners, I talked about ink and I mentioned this. This is a unit that I bought from a friend who used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And she got out of the business and decided she wasn't going to be as big into crafting as she used to be. So she sold me the unit, and it was filled with stamps and markers, and then the wood unit itself, which someone had made for her. It was an awesome deal. So watch for things like this at your buy-sell trades and your local sell pages on Facebook and Craigslist and all those. Be careful. Vet yourself. Make sure you're not dealing with, the crazies. But definitely keep your eyes open because I paid less than $100 for all of this. Now, I will tell you this. This row right here is all my Stampin' Up! Ink colors, except for the bottom two. Those were included with her stuff. Now, they were filled with stamps and markers. But I took out, what I did is I went through and all of the less juicy stamps and the markers with frayed ends or were starting to dry out, I took out, and I had just enough room for my ink colors for the past 2 years. I do have some markers over here that do not have matching stamp pads. And then there are some markers here that are missing because maybe the stamp pads are a little bit older and they didn't come with markers. The markers are no longer available for them. But this is definitely a great buy. I love this tool. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this video is all about color. I'm also going to show you my Spectrum Noir set. I also mentioned this in a previous video. This is just the starter set, the 72 colors. Ordered this on HSN and I'm paying for it on FlexPay. And I only have 2 more payments left on this, and then I'm going to start investing in the rest of the sets because there's 6 more sets that come with this. So definitely excited about getting that going because obviously I can't afford Copics right now, but this was definitely a good investment. So I'm going to put you on pause for 1 second and put you back on my desktop tripod and get this party started. Be right back. All right. Thanks for waiting. I needed to put you back on the tripod here so we can get started. Like I said, this video is all about color, and it's going to pertain more to me as a card maker. But a lot of the supplies I'm using and showing you are things that I've had and that I was using when I was doing art journaling and some scrapbooking, especially when we get into the watercolor stuff. I was using a lot of different things. You have to excuse me, I got my phone over here. I have my timer set because I did another one of these videos and I ran over by like 2 minutes and I don't have editing capabilities right now on my computer. So, yeah, I got to time myself here so I don't run over. I showed you my Stampin' Up! Markers. I'm going to show you these Spectrum Noir markers next. First. These are alcohol markers. They come... These great barrels, they're kind of like hexagon shaped or something, and they don't roll. They're not going to roll off your table, so I love that. They have a broad tip, and they have a nib tip. Now, the nib tip is, even though it's a fine point, definitely use this more, because most of my stamps are around this size. So I don't need this broad barrel. It's nice to have, but I don't have to have it. I love alcohol markers. I'm new to using them. This is the first set. I do have 1 Copic. I have my lone green Copic over here that I bought, and I paid $8 for it. It was $7.99, and I thought, nah, I'm not paying $8 for a marker. So I know I can get them cheaper, but still, I'm okay with these. Until I get my craft perfected, I'm not wasting, I'm not going to say waste, but I'm not going to invest until I know how to use them, and this is a craft that I'm going to stick with for a while. But anyway, these are great for blending. Now, usually what I do with these is I go in and I color the whole area with the lightest color first. Then I go in and I take the darker shade. And I like these because this band shows me that that's the smaller nib. And then what I do is I go in with the darker shade and I put it along these lines and these edges because usually that's where your shadowing occurs. Excuse me. I got that. And then I go back in with my lighter shade and watch this. Just kind of flick it out a little bit. And kind of pull out some of that color from the darker shade. And look at that. You've got some great shading there with that. The other thing I like about these alcohol markers is that you can take these and you can make one shade. Look at that light green shade. How awesome is that? I'm going to go all the way over here. That's just one layer of color. Watch what happens when you add a second layer of color to that. Look at how much darker that is. See? And watch what happens when I add a third layer. And you can go on and on. You can go as deep as you want with these. I mean, there's 4 different variations right there. 3, actually. But you don't need 300 and some Copics. You can use one and get varying shades. And I'm sure the Copics work the same way. I'm saying Copics, but I meant my Spectrum Noirs. One marker will give you varying degrees of color. So that's really cool. That's another really great thing about alcohol markers. They are an investment, but if you know you're going to use them, then by all means, invest away. The next thing that I like to do to add color is, again, they're markers. I love these Stampin' Up! Markers because they're water soluble. All I need to do is take a marker. I don't like these fine points on that. That's the only thing. These have a brush tip and a very fine point. Fine point on these dries out really quickly. But I love this. I tend to put these on a block, take out my water brush, pick up some of the color, and start coloring away. And it gives color, the effect of watercolor. Now, I will recommend when you're doing stuff like this, if you're going to use regular cardstock, one layer of color, because otherwise you're going to start pilling. And those are great. Those are awesome. Look at how pretty that is. Now, don't have Stampin' Up! Markers, can't afford Stampin' Up! Markers, that's fine. Because you know what else I found works really well? Good old-fashioned Crayolas. These are the super tips, which means you can write a really fine line or you can put down a lot of color. And I'm going to wipe my brush off here because I want a different color in here. Pick up the color, same way, right off my stamp block. You can add color if you want to dilute it. And start coloring. Look at that. How pretty is that? How gorgeous. What a gorgeous, gorgeous color. Well, it's another great way to add color. No, I've never been one to be a big fan of bright, vivid colors. When I was younger, I always wore a lot of dark colors. I read an article or something that said black made you look slender. Yeah. So I wore a lot of black, and it wasn't because I was into any kind of grunge. This was in the early 80s, and grunge wasn't even a thing then, really. Well, maybe with punk bands, but I wore a lot of neutral colors. I wore grays, I wore browns, I wore dark navies, I wore blacks. And that's just me. And my mom always used to say, you'd look so much prettier in colored stuff. And I never got into color until maybe the last 3 or 4 years. And I know playing with stuff like this brings it out as well. But look at how bright those colors are. And that's just your basic Crayola marker. I didn't do anything special with that other than add water. So, and these things, you know, when you're using your Crayola markers and stuff, your kids can get into these. If they lose one, it's not a hardship. You're not wasting $8 on a marker, and your kid gets it and it's gone. It's dried up, the tip is bent, whatever. Use your Crayolas. Let your kids have fun too. Now, these also come in an alcohol base. They're called the Stampin' Up! Blends. I do not have any of those, but I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on them, and they're really pretty awesome. I think I'm going to stick with my Spectrum Noir. I don't feel that I have a need to have 2 or 3 different sets of markers. With that in mind, I'll get into a few other ways that I like to add color. Of course, I have the Bic markets and the Sharpies and all that kind of stuff. Being that I was in art journaling, I have a lot of these types of medium. These are actually Neon Pops. These are from, that one's from Recollections, sorry. These Neon Pops are from Dick Blick's. These were $10. And they're very much like gelatos in that you put color down. They're water soluble. That's a great way to add some color. And these are really bright. I got these because I liked them for art journaling. Kind of waxy, but they do the job. And you just got to make sure you spread out. Now again, see how my paper is peeling with these? Because these are a lot harder to maneuver. So it's taking a lot more water. Use a watercolor cardstock or a mixed media cardstock for stuff like this. And this is my collection. I don't have everything. These gelatos, there's one set in here that are metallic. The other set, the basic colors, are from a kid's set of gelatos from Faber-Castell that I found in one of the kids' aisles at Hobby Lobby, and it was clearanced. I don't think I paid $10 for those. So keep your eyes open for deals. If you're going to experiment, if you can, start off with a lesser brand, a lesser known brand that's going to cost you less. If you don't like it, it is something you can pass along to your kids. If you do like it, then you can invest in the next level, you know, the real gelatos. Another thing that I do like to color, and I have lots of color pencils. I'm showing you these because they're dual purpose. They're regular pencils and watercolor pencils. I have a bunch of pencils. I will preface this, I do not have any high-end pencils. I do not have Spectrum Noir. I do not have Faber-Castell. I do not have any of those. I have good old-fashioned Rose Art, Crayola, and there's a few others, and then I have several of these Fine Touch, which are from Hobby Lobby. Now, I like these a lot. I was just playing with these earlier on another stamp, and I had forgotten how well that these blend out. These are awesome. And basically all you need to do is color your area in, and you don't really need to be fancy. The more color you put down, the more vibrant it's going to be when it gets wet. But if you don't want to put a lot of color down, that's fine too. And watch what happens with these. Now remember, these are the good old-fashioned Crayola watercolors. Nothing fancy. A little bit of water. And watch how it kind of blends it out so it gets rid of those pencil-y streaks. Again, if you want to add more color, you might want to use a watercolor paper, a watercolor cardstock, or a mixed media cardstock. This is just basic Georgia Pacific 110-pound cardstock. But look at how pretty and look at how well that blended out for a quote-unquote child's crayon, child's pencil. Those are awesome. Beautiful. So definitely keep your eye out for kid stuff as well. I have a set of paints that I love to use. They're the Crayola kids paints that come in the little jars. I bought one set to fulfill a free shipping quota 2 years ago for Christmas for my son. He wanted something from Toys R Us, and I only had to spend like $5 more to get free shipping, so I bought a set of those. They're some of my favorite paints to use. They truly are. Now, speaking of paints, that's another great way to add color to your crafts, your paper crafts with your cards and whatnot. Now, I'm not saying go in and paint in great detail with acrylic paint and oil paint. I'm not sure that wouldn't mess up your paper. Excuse me, but a great thing to do, and I just saw someone do it and it reminded me of it. Use your acrylic paints to make your backgrounds, just like you use your watercolor paints and your gelatos. If you need to, water your watercolor paints down a little bit or water your acrylics down a little bit. Put them on some waterproof, some water-based cardstock, some, watercolor cardstock, mixed media cardstock so it doesn't peel. Gesso it if that helps you. And then use that background for die cutting. Look at this. This is actually Distress Inks. And I just messed around with it on my block. added water. But you can get the same type of effect if you have acrylic paints on hand. Water it down a little bit, smoosh it around on your background, let it dry, use it for die cutting, use it for background sheets, whatever floats your boat. There's lots of different ways that you can add color. And I'm going to show you mine right here. This is, now I have a ton of these. These are from my, definitely from my, whatchamacallit, days, my, yeah, here we go. Here's my acrylic paint, my acrylic brush. Definitely from my art journaling days. I'm just checking my time here. Okay, I've got a few minutes. Great thing to do, like I said. Where's my water mister? Where's my mister? My Tim Holtz water thingy. I can't find it. I can't find it. I can't find it. That just sucks, doesn't it? All right. Well, anyway, I was going to add some water to that, and I can't find my Tim Holtz water sprayer. I just had it because I know I filled it. I bet you I left it in the bathroom. Take some paint. Smoosh it around on there. If it's a color, you know, that you're looking for and you don't have, mix, blend your colors. Blend 2 different colors on your block with your watercolor inks and kind of blend them together towards the middle. And if it's something that you like, run with it. Being creative is all about playing first, figuring out what you like, what works for you. You don't need to spend a ton of money. If you have the money and you want to spend it, go for it. Do what works for you. Me, I'm a little on the frugal side. I still have a 15-year-old here at home that needs food and clothing, so I kind of focus on that first, and then whatever's left at the end of the month I can play with and get my groove on. I don't have a lot more else to show you right now. I will probably do another video on specialty tools like, you know, embossing envelopes and die cutting and that kind of stuff. I don't know when that'll happen. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not till next week, but keep your eyes open. If you're looking for fun stuff to watch, Alexandra, sorry, not Alexander, it's a she. Alexandra from Hedgehog Hollow, Tim Hess and Sean McCoy from Ken's Creations, Erin Reed. They're all at Creativation, and they're doing tons of live videos and live feeds, going to the different booths and showing what's new. Log on to YouTube, check those people out. Look for something fun to do this afternoon. I'm going to be playing here. Now I got to clean up a painty mess. I got to find my water spritzer, and then I'm going to have some fun and maybe make some Valentine's Day cards. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I appreciate it. I look forward to checking back in with you soon. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. Hit that bell icon if you want to be notified when I do new videos. And I will chat with you later. Have a great day. Bye.